We're breaking free, we're soaring, we're flying. There's not a star in heaven that we can't reach. If we're trying, yeah, we're breaking free. And that's why I should play both parts, Troy and Gabriella on High School Musical.
Sir, can you just give me your order?
Right.
Welcome back, Corkies, to episode 36 of Crips and Corks. I'm DJ, your host, here with my co-host,
Paul, as usual.
And, Paul, how was your week?
My week was fine. It was okay. I do want to take a moment, though, to congratulate Nemo on winning Eurovision, because that twink has been living rent-free in my head. That little twink is so cute, and that song has been living rent-free in my head.
The way you said, I want to congratulate Nemo, and you paused, and I thought, because he found his dad?
No, Nemo, Eurovision!
I know, but I thought Finding Nemo.
I've never cared about Eurovision until, this very moment. And then I found out Damiano David won from Måneskin. Måneskin won, and I love Måneskin, so...
I think he was technically our first hot guy of the month.
He probably was.
Unofficial.
Or maybe Sam and Colby was. I'm not sure.
No, you just, talked about Sam and Colby. You talked about Colby in a fairly disturbing way.
Yeah. We can strike that from the record.
Colby David was the first guy who, you came every week with a different fact, and then Charlie Puth was, the first official one.
That's very true.
We were, halfway through Damiano David, and you were like, so, idea... Hot guy of the month.
Exactly. But I love Måneskin so much more now that I know they love Eurovision. And I might even watch Eurovision now that I know, there's some interesting things going on there. I'm going to have to, dive deep into the tea of Eurovision because I feel like there's some tea there.
Did you see that TikTok? So it's people vote on it, like American Idol.
Yeah.
Did you see that TikTok where a woman was like... You just grab your phone. Here, sir, let me borrow yours. And she's like, and you just go to this website and you vote there. And then his Grindr notifications start going off.
I did see that.
And she's like, I don't know what games this is.
Oh my gosh. How embarrassing would that be? But also at the same time, I'd kind of own it and be like, call me on screen. Just be like, hey, people, give me a reach. Give me a shout out.
He was messaging someone oh, I'm at Eurovision. And somebody was like, oh, that's cool. And then she grabbed his phone and whoever he was messaging saw him. And that's why it was going wild.
I know. But I also want to talk about how I went to the dentist today and how awful the dentist is.
Yeah.
The dentist is honestly the worst experience. No one I know enjoys going to the dentist.
No.
And bitch.
Well, Dan does, but Dan's just wild.
And honestly, there's no more embarrassing moment than when you're laying in that dentist chair and your gums start to bleed. And then they're like, how often do you floss? And it's like, Samantha, you and me both know the answer to this question. See, my problem is that on the weekends, I get drunk and fall asleep. And when you're drunk, you're not flossing when you're drunk. And if you are...
You floss when you're sober?
Yes.
Okay.
Girl, and honestly...
That's me told.
If you say you're flossing when you're drunk, get over yourself. No one is that pressed to floss.
If you have the capacity to brush your teeth while drunk... I applaud you.
Honestly, because I get obliterated.
I can hardly wash my hand. I do it, but I can hardly, it's so, oh, what am I doing?
Right. When I am home from the bar, I go straight to my bed, okay? Well, maybe I'll get food, and then I'll go straight to my bed. There is none of this, freshening up before bed when you have been at the bar all night.
You're lucky if you get me in pajamas.
Right. If you do that, you're a psycho. I'm sorry. Unpopular opinion, but if you do that, you're a psycho. How about you, DJ? How was your week?
It was fine. We actually had nice weather all this week, which I love to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Although we had to go into the office, which... It's a little harder to go outside and enjoy the outside on breaks when you're in the office, just because there's nowhere to go and sit.
Right.
Wild drivers out on the road today. We're recording this on Memorial Day weekend.
Right.
I nearly got cut off like 5 different times. And why does nobody use their turn signals? Comment below if you still use your turn signals, because I thought it was a law.
Or better yet, send us a text message. Someone please text us.
Somebody
Dear
text
Jesus.
us.
Click that link below and send us a goddamn text message. Just someone. Take one for the team. Take 2 seconds out of your day.
Also, I'm very excited because we got our ghost hunting equipment in the mail this week.
I know. I'm so excited to start using the ghost hunting equipment.
Yes.
Maybe we'll do some ghost hunting lives on Facebook.
Oh, that would be fun. And also, we got this backdrop so you're not staring at a white wall behind us.
It's like we're in the spooky forest.
And I actually I think it makes us pop more. And then I love how well the camera picks it up.
Also, if you're watching on video, fun drinking game. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Anytime you see my lazy eye, take a drink.
Don't do it. You'll get alcohol poisoning.
Exactly, honey.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. It's there. It's out and about. So we're just going to own it. It's just what we're doing.
For our next live stream, like our next live episode, I am going to come up with a drinking game.
Oh, that'll be fun. I'm here for that.
I'm going to have to listen back to all of our episodes and listen to all of our corks.
Right. So
do you want to talk about Hot Guy of the Month before
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about Troye Sivan, our Hot Guy of the Month.
My angel baby.
He is my angel baby.
The father of my children.
But,
destroyer of my whole.
You wish. Okay, we all wish. Okay, we would all love a little piece of Sivan. But did you know Troye Sivan actually played in that X-Men movie?
He played young Wolverine.
Isn't that crazy? He's actually a very versatile actor. Have you seen... Well, of course, he was in Boy Erased.
Yes.
Yes, that was a very sad, tragic one. He was also... Have you seen that movie called 3 Months, I think it was called? It's with Troye Sivan, and basically... What it's about is
that the one where he gets an STD?
Yeah. So basically what happens, and this is going to be a little educational for those at home who don't know, is that basically he gets exposed to AIDS, right? And back at that point, I know it's only a month now, but back at that point, it was 3 months between point of exposure and from when you could actually find out if you had it. So it's about him going to this support group of people who've been exposed and they're all waiting to find out if they have it, and he falls in love with someone. But that movie's honestly so relatable because and
it's kind of a comedy. It's a dark comedy from the clips I've seen.
Exactly. And it's I know just about every gay man has had an STD scare, so it's kind of very relatable on that. And honestly, not just gay people. Everyone's had if not an STD scare, a pregnancy scare.
I've had a pregnancy scare.
I know, right? It just it happens to the best of us, really. And honestly,
for those at home, that was a bottom joke. I've never been with a woman. I just really felt the need to clear that up.
It's okay. And honestly, the point I'm getting at is Troye Sivan is playing these roles besides Wolverine. These roles in these movies that are educating people, Boy Erased educates people about conversion therapy. Just educating people about gay people's struggles and things. And I think he definitely, I've watched a few interviews of his, and acting is definitely a passion of his, and I really appreciate that he's using one of his passions to educate people, because working in movies is so cool, but also he's working in these movies that are doing good for humanity, so I think that's really awesome, and Troy's a really good actor, if I say so myself.
Yes.
I love watching all the movies, and did you know he voiced someone in one of the Trolls movies?
I think I did know that because I looked it up and I was like, oh, Troy, you fell so far. But also, those Troll movies, they had, some big actors in them.
Oh, yeah. Those Troll movies go a little crazy for no reason. It's crazy.
Anna Kendrick voices one, and then there's, another famous guy who... They just have a lot of famous people in that movie, and I don't know why it's necessary.
Right.
How the greats have fallen.
Or Narclear. All right, well, that's all I have on Troye Sivan. This week, I just wanted to explore a little bit about his acting career. Keep up the acting, Troy. You're amazing at it, like everything else you do. So keep it up, bitch.
Well, thank you, Paul. And now to Al with the weather. And I love how you just.
It's a little cloudy today,
Are you Al?
especially in my ass.
Okay, we're drinking after that. Our paranormal pairing for this week is a Malbec from Frontera Vineyards, protected by nature. It's from Chile.
Chilean wine.
I forgot to put the glasses on.
I love Wendy's Chile.
I need a moment. Red fruit aromas with enticing notes of coffee and chocolate notes round out this velvety Malbec. And if you want an added bonus, there is a code on the back where you can listen to a Spotify that's been parified. A Spotify playlist that's been paired with this wine.
Oh, that's actually really cool. Whole Spotify playlist? That's low-key really cool. More wineries should do that. That's cool.
Let's do our crack.
Oh, girl, that face you made must be strong.
Oh, wait.
What are you doing?
I wanted to do a visual pour. And now I'll do an ASMR pour.
Ooh, that's good.
good.
That's really good. I like that.
Yeah.
What's it from Tara? Girl, get into this. This is a good wine. Okay.
It's a little dry at first, but it has like that very smooth aftertaste, that velvety.
I don't know. That second drink was a little iffy. I'm gonna give this one a 3.5 grapes, 3.5 grapes.
I agree with that.
3.5 grapes. That's a pretty good wine. Definitely, if you're at the store and need something for a Friday night, go ahead and pick her up, girl.
So this is the smaller size. They also have a bigger size, and the smaller size is only about $9.
Ooh, girl. So if you're having a whole party, get the bigger size. Why not? Everything's better when it's bigger.
Absolutely. We should have done this sooner, but...
Oh, yes. Before we get into our story.
Yeah, before we get into the story, we just wanted to take a minute to say that While Crips and Corks is and always will be an entertainment podcast, and not a source for news or political opinions, we feel the need to address the ongoing crisis in Gaza. We vehemently condemn both anti-Semitism and Islamophobia in any shape or form, especially in the form of genocide and the slaughter of innocent civilians currently going on. If you want to do something to help, we urge you to look into charities and nonprofits providing aid. My personal favorite being UNICEF, which can be found at www.unicef.org or www.unicefusa.org. And right on their front page, will be a message, provide or donate to Gaza relief.
There you are, and it's helping those families and children that are desperately they're like starving and things.
Yes, and the UNICEF is the United Nations organization that works towards helping children, and right now in Gaza, children are the most displaced population.
Yes.
So it's going towards some of the people who are affected the most, and also probably some of the people who are the most innocent.
Right. So go out there and donate, help the children who need it, and really anyone who needs it.
And Paul, let me tell you a story.
All right, let's get into it.
Camping is a well-loved activity of many. Spending the night out in nature, cooking it over an open fire, maybe even catching your own food. It's the perfect way to leave the rush and buzz of the modern world behind for a while. But you forget that you're entering another world, a world inhabited by wild animals and even creatures beyond discovery. We're used to stories of seeing unexplainable creatures in the woods, darting out of sight when they're noticed. But what if one of these creatures didn't just show itself to you? It took you home. Today, we're going to explore the abduction of Albert Ostman.
Albert Ostman. Okay. I wouldn't mind a man taking me home. Oh my
This is
gosh.
one of my favorite stories. It's not super well known outside of the Bigfoot community.
Not the Bigfoot community. Jesus Christ.
Not to be confused with the foot fetish community. We don't yuck yums.
No. Jesus Christ. Now, for those of you who at home who don't know, DJ is a very prominent and firm member of the Bigfoot community.
I love Bigfoot. I love Bigfoot. Why do you hate that?
I don't. I just think it's funny. You thought I was going to say you were a member of the foot fetish community, didn't
I was
you?
a little scared for a second.
No, DJ loves Bigfoot.
It's just fun.
Everyone has their favorite cryptid.
It's fun.
Mine's Lindsay Lohan.
Jesus.
Y'all see that last movie? Yikes.
All right, let me give you a little bit of background on Albert. He was a Canadian lumberman, prospector, and carpenter.
Okay.
Construction worker. He was actually born in Sweden in 1893.
Oh, wow. He's old. Is he alive?
No.
Oh, girl, I was about to say, he has to be at least like 50.
Yeah, you're not wrong. In 1913, he immigrated to Canada, and he moved to the Pacific Northwest, which actually has a very large Scandinavian community. Probably because it has lots of fjords, which Scandinavia also has a lot of fjords.
What's a fjord?
It's like a bunch of... It's like lagoons.
Oh, okay.
But it's like the really thin, deep ones.
Okay. Period.
And he could be described as an adventurous spirit. He roamed throughout the Pacific Northwest from job to job. Like, he'd complete a job, he'd go to the next town, get another job.
She was a nomad.
He
was a nomad. Period. Get into it.
In 1924, after a particularly long construction job, he decided that he deserved a vacation, and he was going to spend this vacation prospecting in the Toba Inlet in British Columbia.
Oh, okay.
The Toba Inlet was rumored to be surrounded by lots of lost gold mines filled with gold that nobody has seen in years, and Ostman hoped to strike it rich.
Yeah.
At one point he met a First Nations elder who described to him the story of one white prospector who would go up into the mountains and come back to town with bags of gold that he would spend on booze. Like, he'd run through it like fire.
Okay, same. That's a mood.
And then, like, he'd be run out and he'd be like, Joe, you're out of money. And he'd be like, don't you worry. And he'd go back up to the mountains, and like a couple weeks later, he'd come back with another bag of gold.
That's crazy.
However,
He sounds like a leprechaun.
he wasn't guarding the gold.
That's true.
Something else was guarding the gold.
Oh, okay. Tell me about that.
But one day, this prospector spent all of his money and he went on another expedition to get more, and he never came back. And this First Nations elder said that he had been killed by this Sasquatch.
Oh, Sasquatchina.
Exactly. Ostman asked what a Sasquatch was, and the man described it to him as giant people covered in hair who live in the mountains. Woo! You knocked that back.
I forgot we were on video. People can see me doing that now.
I'm like, is the story that bad?
Oh, no. Sometimes you gotta take a little extra swig to get into the comedy chops. To get up in the gig, mom. I forgot people could see that now. Whoops.
Ostman, being a white man, replied that he didn't believe in fables, and that if it was true, it was probably thousands of years ago. And the elder said to him, there may not be many, but they are there.
Oh my God. The same way with men that are interested in me. May not be many, but I imagine they're there.
Yes. Ostman then hired the elder to show him a good spot to start his trip. And the elder led him to the mouth of a creek in the inlet, and Ostman told him, look out for me in about 3 weeks in the same spot.
Oh, okay.
So, like, come out and meet me and, like, lead me out of the inlet.
It's giving Dyatlov Pass.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
So, after a day of prep work and packing, Ostman set out on a trail he forged himself. With him, he took his Winchester 30-30 rifle, his knife, a custom prospecting pick. He had this made for himself. One end was like a pick that's like the long...
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And the other end was a hatchet.
Okay.
And he had a custom leather sheath for it that hung at his belt.
Okay, that's cool. Okay.
A side of bacon, a bag of beans, 4 pounds of prunes, 6 packets of macaroni, cheese, 3 pounds of pancake flour, 6 packets of hardtack, which are saltines but bigger.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
3 rolls of snuff, 1 quart of butter, 2 pounds of milk, and assorted canned goods.
That's heavy. For one person, that's a lot.
He had an 80-pound pack that he was carrying up the mountain.
That's insane. Like, I know he's going to eat most of the food and everything, so it might come back. Well, maybe it won't come back later because the gold is probably pretty heavy when he's coming back down, so that will probably replace the food and weight-wise.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe. But you also get rid of cans, and I'm sure, like, they were littering at this time.
Oh, probably. Most likely.
And also, like, he probably wasn't anticipating bringing, like, a pack full of gold back.
Mm-hmm.
About 4 days... So, this story, I read his account. It's very detailed. He knows his stuff. And I'm not going to bore you with a lot of the little details.
Okay. Period. Perfect.
So, there will be times where it's, like, a time jump. I'm just skipping over him talking about, like, I shot a grouse.
What's a grouse?
It's a bird.
Oh, fun.
After about 4 days into his trip, he found a campsite that he described as particularly classy.
Ooh.
It consisted of 2 cypress trees of good size near each other with a freshwater spring near them. And he decided that he was going to make this his permanent campsite.
Ooh. Okay.
So he cut down some brush and found some leaves, and he made a kind of mattress between the 2 trees and laid his sleeping bag on top of it. He got some flat rocks and made a cooking fire. And he was like, yeah, this is my home. And he found a very large branch that he stuck next to his bed so that he could keep his pack off the ground so animals couldn't get into it.
Oh, okay, cool.
Ostman goes to bed, and he describes himself as a very heavy sleeper. And once he's asleep, he doesn't really get disturbed by anything.
Okay.
And the next morning he woke up and he noticed that some of his belongings had been moved. But after taking a look around, nothing was missing. He assumed it was a porcupine just wandering in his camp. Porcupines are known to do this. They really like salt. They really like leather.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
He thought nothing of it, but that night he loaded his rifle and placed it under his sleeping bag and put his shoes at the bottom of his sleeping bag. Like I said, porcupines like leather. They will chew it or steal it.
Yeah.
He woke up the next morning to find his pack was still on the branch, but had been turned upside down and dumped out.
Oh, no.
And his prunes and pancake flour were missing.
Oh, not that. I'll fuck a bitch up over my prunes.
So would Albert, because he kept coming back to his prunes were gone.
He's not getting over those prunes. He's not going to be regular for the rest of the trip.
There's like 2 days later into the story, the prunes are gone, and he brings the prunes up again.
He's going to be constipated for a while, girl.
However, he still assumed it was a porcupine. In fact, he hoped it was a porcupine because he looked forward to a good porky stew.
Oh, jeez. Oh, no. That poor porcupine. Stay away, porcupine. Don't do it.
But he did think it was a little weird because porcupines look for salt, but his salt was not touched.
Yeah, and I feel like 4 pounds or 6 pounds or however is a lot of prunes.
4 pounds of prunes?
That's a lot of prune for
3
porcupines.
pounds of pancake flour.
That's a lot. What's a porcupine gonna do with pancake flour?
Wait, okay.
He works part-time at the Denny's.
So
He's just
bag of pancake flour is about yay big.
Yeah.
So imagine so let's go at 3 times that.
Girl.
That's a lot of flour.
He was just trying to feed his family.
Oh.
His little porcupine family.
That night, he decided that he was going to climb to the top of a rocky outcrop near the campsite and lie in wait for his nocturnal visitor.
Oh, I've had a few nocturnal visitors.
I know, but I could just actually, I could imagine you that, like, you hide in the closet and somebody, like, walks in and it's like, where is he? And you just emerge from the darkness.
Are you ready for some sexy?
Pull your pants down and bend over, bitch.
Oh no. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Speaking of nocturnal visitors, Edward Cullen. Boom.
Yes.
Brought it full circle.
Yes.
There's our one Edward Cullen mention.
Take a drink every time we mention Twilight. Or something Twilight related.
We gotta bring it up once an episode now. It's tradition.
Oh my god, I wonder how close this is to Forks, Washington.
Oh, it probably is kind of close, actually.
It
They're
is
in, like, the Northwest.
Toba Inlet is really close to Vancouver.
Ooh, okay.
And I think at one point, I know they did some filming in Vancouver, but I think at one point no, that was Portland. Never mind. He didn't find anything. Like that night.
Oh, okay.
That he was watching. So the next night. So that's like 3 nights in a row. So this is the 4th night. And he took a mental note of where everything was in his camp. He decided he was not going to undress for bed. He was going to be fully dressed and just take his boots off and tuck them at the bottom of his sleeping bag.
Mm-hmm.
Then he stuck his pick into the side of one of the cypress trees where he could easily reach it and put his loaded rifle in his sleeping bag.
Oh, he was ready, girl. He was strapped.
Heavy sleeper with a loaded gun. What could go wrong?
Oh, no!
The night was cloudy and he expected some rain. Ostman nestled in, prepared to stay awake and find out who his nocturnal visitor was. But Ostman fell asleep.
Idiot.
He was awoken sometime later by someone picking him up.
Sorry.
You were
That's crazy. Could you imagine, bitch? You're sleeping and all of a sudden you're in a strong man arms.
Ostman was still half asleep and tried to make sense of what was going on. He described it as, I was trying to figure out where I was.
Oh, been there.
Remembering that he was on this prospecting trip, he thought, I'm caught in a snowslide. And then remembered, he wasn't near any snow.
Jesus.
Ostman later recalled, then it felt like I was tossed on horseback, but I could feel whoever it was walking. I tried to reason out what kind of animal this could be. I tried to get at my sheath knife and cut my way out, but I was in an almost sitting position, and the knife was under me. I could not get a hold of it, but the rifle was in front of me. I had a good hold of that, and had no intention to let it go. At times I could feel my pack sack touching me, and I could feel the cans in the sack touching my back.
Wait, is he in this person's or whatever's arms? Or
He's
is he
like over his back.
Oh.
And the pack is also over his back, and so he can feel...
Oh, I see what's going on. Okay.
Yeah, like the Sasquatch is holding the sack like this.
Right, and he got him.
Luckily, and Ostman said this later, luckily he didn't have a tight enough grip where the bag was entirely closed.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, he would have suffocated.
Oh, wait, so he's in his sack?
Yeah.
Like his backpack?
No, like...
In the tent.
The sleeping bag.
He's in the sleeping bag.
He called it a sleeping
Okay.
pack. Nowadays, we call it a sleeping bag.
That's crazy. That would be scary.
After about an hour, Ostman felt his abductor was carrying him uphill, and he was breathing heavily with exertion and occasionally gave a small cough. At this moment, Ostman realized the stories of the Sasquatch were not folk tales.
That's crazy. Because, yeah, he's probably like, he's a full-grown man. For someone just to throw him on over the back.
Yeah, like
that's,
Santa Claus style.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He was carried in the sack for quite some time, with his legs cramping, clutching his rifle for dear life, and thankful that he had just enough an opening for air. After roughly 3 hours, Ostman was finally set down. He was set down on a slope and he rolled a few feet before he was able to crawl out of the bag and get some air. His legs were still numb and he was trying to massage them and get his shoes on at the same time. And he looks up, and in the pre-dawn gloom, he finds himself surrounded by 4 Sasquatch.
Oh, girl, not 4 of them. I've seen that video before. Oh, girl, let me tell you, it ends on a couch.
Just remember that comment later. In the growing light of dawn, he could make out an adult male, an adult female, a young boy, and a young girl. A family.
Oh, a family. That's so fun.
As they stood around them, they made a chattering noise that Ostman described as some kind of talking he had never heard before.
Mm-hmm.
He stood up and asked, "What do you fellows want with me?" Only to be answered with more chattering. He noted that the old man told his family about what he had brought and what he planned to do with him, while the old lady was not at all pleased with her mate bringing Ostman home, while the boy and girl seemed to be scared of him.
Yeah, oh my gosh. And I think it's funny he tried to talk to them in English. You think that Sasquatch knows English, bitch?
Well, I mean, the First Nations elder did describe them as people.
Yeah, but they're probably not learning English out in the woods.
Well, haven't you ever seen Harry and the Hendersons?
No.
We gotta watch it.
I
It's
don't know
about
about
this
that,
family that they hit Sasquatch with their car coming home from a camping trip, and they take him home, and he wakes up, and he sort of becomes their friend and pet.
That's kind of like the Sasquatch version of I Know What You Did Last Summer.
I never saw that.
What do you mean you haven't seen? You have a paranormal podcast and you haven't seen I Know What You Did Last Summer? It's a classic horror movie. Sarah Michelle Gellar's in it. Buffy. Y'all need to get it. The education system. Our public school has failed us.
Ostman looked around to see where he was. He was in a valley or a basin about 8 or 10 acres between 2 large mountains. And when he says mountains, I think he meant cliffs. Because he couldn't just go walking over them.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a V-shaped opening serving as an entrance, or more importantly for him, an exit.
Ooh, there you go.
However, the old man went and sat by the opening and prevented his escape.
That's crazy. So it's smart enough to know that he was going to try to escape.
He moved his belongings, his sleeping bag, and his pack with some supplies up against the base of one of the rock walls between 2 trees and decided to make camp there until he could flee. Ostman took survey of his supplies and noted that he did have some of his food left, but he was missing his pick, his box of extra cartridges for the rifle, and his matches.
That's crazy.
So he had 6 matches in an emergency pack, and he had 6 bullets in the rifle. And that was it.
Well, he better aim to kill then. That's all I would say.
And also, his prunes and his macaroni. Damn macaroni stealing Sasquatch!
Is that what he actually wrote?
No, I wrote that, but that has to be a t-shirt.
That is funny. Damn macaroni stealing Sasquatch. I love that. I would wear that t-shirt. That's pretty funny.
As Ostman looked for a water source, he realized that the boy and girl were watching him. And he noticed that throughout his time there, someone was always watching him, and the old man always seemed to be preventing him from making an escape.
He was like their pet.
Yeah, I like that theory. That's actually something I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
He also noticed a bed made of dried moss and brush under a rock overhang, and blankets made of thin strips of cedar bark woven together and packed with dry moss.
Huh, that's interesting. So,
Very intelligent.
yeah, very that. I mean, if they were intelligent enough, they would just walk down to the Holiday Inn. But
Oh, Jesus.
what can you do in this economy, I guess?
The boy seemed curious about him and slowly edged closer and closer to him over the course of the day. Ostman noticed that one of his snuff boxes was empty, and he threw it to the boy, who caught it, and he and the boy began to play with it, opening and closing the lid.
Oh.
The next day, Ostman decided he...
Hold up. My first snuff can.
Fisher-Price presents My First Snuff Can.
Get
Now
into
that's
it.
a meme.
First Sasquatch. My first snuff can, followed closely by my first matchbox.
Jesus.
Not the card, actual matches.
The next day, Ostman decided he had to escape, even if it meant shooting his way out, as he had only enough food to last him the trek back to the Toba Inlet. He packed up and loaded his gun and began walking towards the old man near the opening. These were the names he gave to them.
Right.
The old man stood up as he saw Ostman approach and held his hands out to stop him. I pointed to the opening. I wanted to go out, but he stood there pointing towards me and said something like, Soka, Soka. I backed up to about 60 feet. I did not want to be too close. I thought if I had to shoot my way out, a 30-30 might not have much effect on this fellow. It might make him mad. I only had 6 shells, so I decided to wait. There must be a better way than killing him in order to get out of here. I went back to my campsite to figure out some other way to get out.
Well, it's kind of sweet he didn't want to kill him. He was like, let me not kill this fellow.
He was like very adamant, like, they did nothing to hurt me. I'm not going to hurt them.
That's true. But what if they were planning to hurt him?
You'll have to wait and find out, Barbara.
Ooh.
The following day, he did not see the old lady until 4.
Mm-hmm.
She returned to the valley with arms full of grass, twigs, and nuts. Ostman also noticed that the boy climbed one of the cliff faces each day, better than a mountain goat.
Huh, that's interesting.
Like, if there was, like, a tiny ledge big enough for his big toe, he could get up it.
Okay.
And at the top, he had picked some grass with long roots and a sweet taste. The boy gave Ostman some grass, and Ostman gave him another snuff box with a little bit of snuff in it.
Ooh, you gotta teach them young, you know? Get them chewing young.
The boy tasted it and seemed to like it and went to show his father, who also tried it and liked it.
Ooh, girl. They're getting them addicted. Yeah, I'm here for it, bitch.
Ostman then went about making dippers out of his empty cans and some sticks.
What's a... Oh, like for water.
Yes.
Okay.
So you take the can and you cut a slit in, and then you wedge the stick in there, and it becomes... And you can use it either as a water dipper or you can use it as a pot.
Okay, that makes sense.
The boy was absolutely enthralled by this.
Mm-hmm.
So Ostman gave him and his sister each one, and noticed the boy smiled at him.
Okay, I'm thinking about a Sasquatch smile. I feel like it would just be so creepy to see a Sasquatch smile. I don't know what it is, but I feel like that would just creep me out.
Ostman then came up with a plan that he was going to take the old man out by throwing a whole box of snuff in his eyes. So he took some snuff himself and made a show of how good it was. The boy chirped at him and pointed at the old man, indicating he liked it and wanted some. Ostman shook his head and tried to gesture for the old man to come to him, but the boy did not understand. Ostman then came up with a new plan. If only I could get the old man to come over to me and get him to eat a full box of snuff, that would kill him for sure. And that way, kill himself. I wouldn't be guilty of murder.
I don't think snuff would kill him, would it? It's just chewing tobacco, I think.
I think at this time it was like a little more potent.
Oh, okay. They were hitting him with that bop. He said, I got that motherfucking thing on me.
Yeah, it was a little more, I think it was a little more potent back then.
Okay.
Because I know at one point you could snort it like blow.
That's crazy. Not snorting snuff. That's crazy.
That's how you used to do it. like fancy, like rich people would do snuff. I did a play, and like my character did snuff.
They had you snort and snuffle on stage?
No, I had like a little jeweled box, and it was empty, but I took it out and I like had a little spoon, and I like pretended to put a little on my thing, and then I had a on stage.
That's crazy.
But it got a laugh every night because everyone thought, well, I played an old woman in a wheelchair, and everyone thought that I was an old woman doing cocaine.
Either way, it's funny. That's crazy.
That's still my favorite character I've ever played.
Oh, jeez.
It was just such a good part. Anyways, by this point, Ostman had been held hostage by the Sasquatch family for 6 days.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's nearly a week.
Right. I don't have time for all that. I got things to do.
And so let's think about that. So 4 days trek. And then 4 days at the campsite, that's 10 days. Okay. Plus 6, that's 16. And he only planned to be out there for 3 weeks, which is 21 days.
Right, we're creeping up on that 3-week period.
And it's going to be... And it was a 4-mile trek, or a 4-day trek, from where his campsite was. And he has no idea where he is. And he's running out of food.
Oh, yeah, he's going to be done. Well, maybe not. Who knows? We'll see.
So at this point in his story, he goes on to describe the family themselves. He describes the girl as being quite gentle. She wouldn't harm anyone. And he noted that she was flat-chested, unlike the girls of today.
Ooh. Like the adult woman or the child?
The girl.
Well, she was just a doll. She was just a girl. What did he want?
And he actually contemplated kidnapping with her when he made his escape, except he couldn't think what to do with her in the city except put her on display. And he said, I didn't think she would care for the noise of the city, much like I wouldn't.
It's kind of nice he left her. That was probably for the best.
Yeah, but it was like, I was like, wow, I can't believe you're admitting, like, they kidnapped you and you're like, I gotta escape. And you're like, maybe I'll kidnap the girl.
Right, let me take their whole daughter.
The boy he estimated to be somewhere between the ages of 11 and 18.
Okay.
Was 7 feet tall and around 300 pounds.
Oh my god. He's just like Lindsay Lohan.
Jesus.
Next week I'll pick on a different celebrity.
Please. We're gonna get sued. The old lady was between 20 and 50. Over 7 feet tall and weighing somewhere between 500 and 600 pounds.
Oh, wow.
And then he gave quite the description of her, and I have to read it in his words.
Okay.
She had very wide hips and a goose-like walk. She was not built for beauty or speed. Some of those lovable brassieres and uplifts would have been a great improvement on her looks and her figure.
Not him reading her for filth. Jesus.
He read her.
She said, this frumpy bitch. That's crazy about him reading her like that. That's crazy.
He deadass said she was not a looker.
Right. She lives in the woods. What do you want from her? Like...
Wait, close your eyes.
Okay.
Imagine a Sasquatch in a bra.
Okay.
Does it not make you laugh?
It's definitely interesting for sure. Definitely an interesting thing to think about for sure. Girl.
The old man was 8 feet or taller, barrel-chested, and had huge biceps and a slight hump on his back.
Killed it with the hump, Jesus.
He noted that they all had 6 inches of hair on their heads, which hid their ears.
Okay.
And had short, thick hair on the rest of their bodies, except for the palms of their hands and the soles of their feet, which were padded like a dog's.
That's kind of funny.
Which makes sense, because, like, dogs are descended from wolves who run around the woods. They live in the woods.
I guess you could say Sasquatch likes it doggy style. For our audio listeners, DJ's pouring another.
They could have heard me pour.
Oh, wow. Life is beautiful, guys.
They were all extremely agile, in that they would sit down on the ground and get up without using their hands to help them.
Huh. That's interesting.
Which
okay.
I've seen some really, like, fit people not be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I could do that.
He hypothesized that they were nomadic, and this was a stopover for them, perhaps for the sweet-tasting grass they collected, which may have been seasonal.
I wonder what kind of grass it was. I want to try it.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to try the grass.
Just see, like, what the fuss.
Right. Why do all Sasquatches love it? I want to know.
Excuse me. He noted that they never did anything without a purpose. So, like, the old man or the old woman, if they were, like, collecting food, they were resting.
They're in survival mode.
Exactly.
They're just
and
living
the kids,
to survive.
if they weren't helping collect food or whatnot, they would be doing some physical exercise. And part of the children exercising, they played.
Oh, that's fun.
Notably, the boy would hold his feet in the air and rock on his back and try to rock forward and see how far he could propel himself.
Oh. Side note, I don't know if you guys can hear the rain through the microphone, but it's raining pretty hard out there right now. It's some good ambiance.
Oh my god, that is rain. I thought somebody flushed a toilet and that was your pipes.
No, it's rain.
It was sunny when I got here.
Well, now it's raining. Weather. Spooky.
Oh, you have a window open. That's why it's so loud. Okay. And at one point, the boy was able to launch himself 20 feet doing this.
That's pretty crazy.
Ostman had no clue why he was abducted or being held. But like I said before, he stressed that they never attempted to harm him, which is why he never resorted to using his gun. On the 6th day, the old man and the boy sat only 10 feet from Ostman, and he notes that they were very interested in the stuff and had been moving closer and closer every day. And that on this day, Ostman finally had enough twigs and branches collected that he could make a fire to boil a pot of strong coffee. And that the scent of coffee was what attracted them.
Oh, they like... Okay, well, coffee do be smelling good. I get it.
So Ostman's doing everything to entice them. And he's eating hardtack with butter. And he said, it sure was good.
Right. And they don't understand a word he's saying.
He said he was eating, he was smacking his lips as he was eating it, like...
Oh, that's gross. I hate that.
It's
Don't
very
ever
gross,
do that.
but...
Oh, I hate that.
I once made out with a guy who made out like that.
I would promptly leave and block him on everything.
Okay. He did make noises like that, but like when he kissed, he didn't go for my lips, he like inhaled half my face.
That's gross. Disgusting.
So, and he said, like, even though it was good, he was exaggerating just how good it was, trying to get them even closer. And after he finished, he set the remainder of his coffee to the side for later and took a pinch of snuff. At this point, the old man reached for the box. Ostman was afraid that the old man would waste it, and he had only this and another box left. So that's like a try and a half.
Right.
And tried to hold on to it. But the old man grabbed it, dumped the whole thing in his mouth, and swallowed it in one gulp, and then licked the inside of the box.
That's crazy. I don't know.
Ostman later recounted. After a few minutes, his eyes began to roll over in his head. He was looking straight up. I could see he was sick. And he grabbed my coffee can that was quite cold by this time. He emptied that in his mouth, grounds and all. That did no good. He stuck his... I'm sorry, this is funny. He stuck his head between his legs and rolled forwards a few times away from me. Then he began to squeal like a stuck pig.
Interesting.
I grabbed my rifle. I said to myself, this is it. If he comes for me, I will shoot him plumb between the eyes. But he started for the spring. He wanted water. I packed my sleeping bag in my pack sack with the few cans I had left. The young fellow ran over to his mother. Then she began to squeal. I started for the opening in the wall, and I just made it. The old lady was right behind me. I fired one shot at the rock over his head. her head.
Mm-hmm.
The old woman ran back into the valley as Ostman reloaded his gun and kept running, continually looking over his shoulder.
Yes, get out of there, girl! Run, bitch, run!
I'm just imagining this 8-foot tall creature like, oh, 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 because he ate too much drugs.
You know, sometimes...
He had the best trip.
Sometimes you and I have different senses of humor, and that's okay. Maybe the folks at home will laugh along with you.
I'm sorry. I just think...
It's fine.
I don't know. I just thought it was funny. I think Squeal with the Pig really got me.
That is kind of funny. I agree.
He was in a canyon, and after 3 miles, he decided to climb up to the top to not only get his bearings, but keep an eye out for the Sasquatch if they decide to pursue him.
Mm-hmm.
After 2 days of hiking, he made it to a logging camp where he's able to rest before going back towards civilization. This was Ostman's last time prospecting and his last encounter with Sasquatch.
That's pretty interesting.
Ostman chose to keep this fantastic story to himself until 1957, when other Sasquatch sightings were being reported throughout the Pacific Northwest.
See, I don't like that. I don't like that he kept it a secret.
He did sign a sworn affidavit that he was not lying, which by Canadian law would mean if he was found out...
Oh my god, he knows David too?
Yes. He would be charged with perjury and thrown in jail. He also had a signed affidavit from Magistrate A.M. Naismith testifying to his mental well-being.
Okay.
And he gave...
She was all there.
He also gave extensive interviews to John Green for his book Sasquatch, The Apes Among Us. And we're not talking about The Stars Among Us, John Green.
Oh, The Fault in Our Stars.
I said The Stars Among Us, didn't I?
Yeah. That's honestly what John Green I thought you were talking about, so I'm glad you verified which one it was.
Now, while Ostman's story seems simply too incredible to be believed, it is noted for its accuracy in describing both primate anatomy and behavior.
Okay.
His description of the Sasquatch appearance and behavior are strikingly ape-like. In a time when little was known about primate behavior and common images of apes were not very good. I'm going to show you. So this is what ape photography was like in that era.
It looks spooky. It looks scary. Show the folks at home. Y'all, that's scary.
And you're thinking drawings are probably better, right?
No
It's people
comment.
with hair.
No comment.
So, how did he know this? He described them all having a narrow forehead that rounds at the back, and it sounds like the sagittal crest, which is a common attribute of apes.
Okay.
And
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, I got you.
he also described the old man's eye teeth, or canines, as being much longer than the rest of his teeth.
Oh, yeah, okay, I see it. Okay, long teeth. Okay.
Long canines.
Mm-hmm.
The bed of brush, dried moss, and bark is also remarkably similar to the nest that primates have been observed making.
Huh. Okay. Maybe he's not faking it. Maybe he's not crazy. We'll see, though.
He also describes the games the two young ones played, which are very similar to the games primates have been observed playing in the wild.
Oh, that's cute. That's fun.
How could a lumber worker from the North Pacific with limited education and resources who preferred life in the wilderness to the city have known all of this?
Probably he didn't.
So while it seems a little too fantastic to believe, I think there's a little something to Albert Ostman's story.
Yeah, I like it. I'm believing him. I like it. I'm
So,
here for it.
Paul, I have one question for you.
What's up?
Smash or pass? Papa Sasquatch with his big biceps.
Oh, don't forget the barrel chest, honey.
And the barrel chest.
Oh my god, I might have to do it just to like say, why not? Oh my gosh. But oh, he's probably a top, so probably not. No, he's a top. We're not doing that. Sorry, Sasquatch Daddy. How about you, DJ?
Okay, so he's described as being very proportional.
Oh no, DJ.
No, I meant like his hands, his arms, like all that.
Oh yeah?
So I'm just imagining.
Getting finger banged by the Sasquatch?
Not only finger bang, but if everything's proportional and he's over 8 feet tall, even if he had a little dick, how big would that be?
Right, too big is what I'm saying.
Like, at smallest, it would have to be like 9 inches.
Yeah, that's insane. No way. There's no way. We're not playing that game, Samantha. And I want to know if there's other Sasquatch families out there too, also. I want to know how many are out there. They're Among Us people, and I need to know how many, and I need to know what's going on.
They're running your local Taco Bell.
Aliens.
Not aliens.
Wait, what did you say about the Taco Bell?
The Sasquatch families. They were running your local Taco Bell.
Oh, Sasquatch owns Taco Bell. New conspiracy theory.
Yeah, just they're in like a suit, so you can't see the fur.
Oh my
Or the
gosh.
height. Or the feet.
The Sasquatch invented the beefy 5-lire burrito. Get into it.
Wait, if a Sasquatch could not eat a bag of snuff, just imagine a Sasquatch dumping like a bunch of Diablo sauces in their mouth.
Wait, do you know those memes that like name something that would immediately kill a Victorian child?
Yes.
What? Name something that would immediately kill Sasquatch.
Immediately.
I'll go first. One hit of a vape. Immediately drop dead. They're done. One rum and coke at Lucky's.
No, I think it would take a couple rum and cokes from Lucky's.
Probably.
Because, I mean, you got a lot of work there. Something that would immediately kill a Sasquatch. White Castle.
White Castle?
Yes.
Oh my god.
The last time I ate White Castle, I was so sick for so many days.
White Castle is kind of sketchy. It's a food like you can only really enjoy when you're high. Not that I've ever been high, but I have seen those movies, Journey to White Castle, and I'm pretty sure they're intoxicated in those movies.
Yeah.
That was a really cool story. I enjoyed that. That was
Thank
so much
you.
fun.
Yeah, I know. Just something different for our first Bigfoot story.
Yeah, I liked that. That was cool. I want more stories like that. I want to hear more of these like Bigfoot kidnapping stories. That was interesting.
I'll have to see if like Bigfoot abducted anyone else.
I'm gonna start standing in the woods and be like, "Hi, Mr. Bigfoot. It'd be a shame if I were to get abducted."
Also, primates kidnap people. Like, there was a case in like 2012 where a baboon broke into somebody's house and stole their baby.
That's kind of crazy.
The baboon stole my baby.
We're gonna move on from that one. We're gonna keep stepping from that one, girl. That was a little rough. Ooh.
The dingo ate my baby.
What is that from? Something?
Yes.
What's it from?
A Crime in Darkness. Meryl Streep plays a woman who's accused of murdering her baby when the baby was stolen by a dingo.
Oh, that's crazy.
And do you know what's crazy? It wasn't until like 20 years later that like they found a dingo nest with the baby's like clothes in it, and they were like, "Oh shit, we definitely put that poor woman on trial."
Did she die? Did they put her to death?
No, she was like acquitted due to lack of evidence.
Oh. Well, yeah, if the dingoes took the baby, there's gonna be no evidence there.
Well, they were saying that she had like...
I can't believe Meryl Streep would do something like that.
No, Meryl Streep played a woman who did that.
It's crazy about them in this, like... See, this is the problem for our video viewers, because now I have to try and figure out how to fill space while you're doing things like this. I can't just edit it out. So, while I'm filling space, How long do you think it would take me to check
Oh,
this?
she's still alive.
I guess we're moving on.
2012.
You'll find out later.
Yeah, so the baby was kidnapped in 1982.
Yeah.
So like 30 years.
Okay. She was in
20.
jail?
No, like she was acquitted. Or
Um,
no, convicted? Conviction. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a case on this.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll get there. So, any of the final thoughts, concerns, conspiracy theories, anything else about the Sasquatch and whatever his name was?
Albert Ostman.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind like spending a week with the Sasquatch.
It would be kind of interesting to see what the dolls and the divas are
Just
doing.
like take me away from it all for a week. No bills, no needing to buy anything.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be scared the
No
whole
work.
week, but why not?
Would I be scared? Would I find love and comfort in the arms of a Sasquatch?
Wait, that's a book! Oh my gosh, there's a book about Sasquatch that's like smut. I forget what it's called, but it's been going around on TikTok. It's about, I forget what it's called, but it's Sasquatch smut. It's crazy. People will write things about anything, honestly. It's crazy.
That's worse than the old lady smut you sent me on TikTok.
It is. But if you guys have any smut recommendations at home, be sure to text us. If I can talk, click the link down below and send us a good old text message with any comments, questions, concerns about this Sasquatch. Oh, I forgot to say this at the top of the episode. Fact check. Hot Guy of the Month, Troye Sivan was born in South Africa. You are correct.
Oh, yeah!
I forgot to say that at the top of the episode. Sorry, guys. He was born in South Africa.
If you have personal stories, please email us at cripsandcorks@gmail.com. You can follow us on Facebook or Twitter at Crips and Corks, or on Instagram and TikTok at Crips and Corks Pod, and is written out in all of them. Paul, where can they find you?
You can find me in my personal Instagram at Paulember, Paulember, and my personal TikTok at Paulember, Paulember. And as usual, it's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
And if you want to find me, you can find me on Instagram or on TikTok at TheRealDeechPowers. And if you want to slide into my DMs, find me on Scruff at TinyBottom4BearTop.
Period.
Did you say it's delivery, not DiGiorno?
Yep, I did say that.
Pizza sounds real good.
I agree.
And I think that's all she wrote. So until next time, guys, remember to keep your crips tight.
And your corks loose. Bye. Ah, Jesus.
Weak.
It's hot as a motherfucker in here.